I call the April 22nd, 2025 special school board meeting to order. It is 6:03 p.m. We are in conference room C of the Fisher Administration Building at 12121 West North Avenue. Ms. Summers, please call the roll.
Mr. Morris.
Here.
Dr. Hoyk. Here. Mr. Wadier.
Here.
Dr. Worley.
Excused.
Ms. Hammer Rolland. Here. Mr. Meyer.
Here.
Dr. Jessup Banger.
Here. We do have a quorum. We're expecting Dr. Worley to join us in a few minutes. Thank you for everyone who is here this evening. And we will begin with an opportunity for public comment. Members of the Wauwatosa School Board value the input of students, parents, staff members, and community members. The board's regularly scheduled meetings provide an opportunity for opinions and concerns to be expressed publicly. The board values all comments and will respectfully consider this input in decision-making. The board requests that individuals limit their comment on each item to 3 minutes. Following any comment, an individual board member may respond on the issue raised. However, it is not the intent of public comment portion of the agenda for the board to enter into debate with a member or members of the community. Because non-agenda items are not publicly posted in advance, no action will be taken on public comment regarding non-agenda items this evening. Mr. Morris, if you can time for the 3 minutes, and Dr. Hoyk, if you can watch that 30-minute.
Ready.
Is there any public comment in the room this evening?
Talk really fast. Hello, I am Maggie Berrien, and I've been a teacher at WSTEM since 2009. Tonight, I speak for myself as an educator, someone deeply committed to the success of our students, families, and the district as a whole. Not only am I in my 16th year at WSTEM, but I also grew up in Wauwatosa. I attended Wilson Elementary, Whitman Middle School, and I have 2 of my own boys who attend WSTEM. I respectfully ask for your support in continuing full grade level enrollment, K through 5, and extending our contract. I make this request not only because of my strong belief and love of WSTEM, but also because of my commitment to this district and because I believe doing so would also benefit the district in numerous ways. I believe this path reflects the district's strategic goals, supports student well-being, and preserves the heart of our instructional model, especially our multi-age classrooms and science integration programming. I'm lucky enough that I can say I've only had a few coworkers in my entire career, and that is because the district played a critical role in curating and supporting our exceptional team rooted in collaboration, innovation, and shared values. That's one of the many things that makes this school so successful. I am proud of the successes WSTEM has had. I've recently learned that of the 1,206 elementary schools, we outperform 1,202 of them. This is because of the programming that, with the support of you, we've created. We don't just work for a school. We've helped build this school from the ground up. An essential part of that foundation is our 2-year rotating science curriculum that is intentionally built around a multi-age classroom where students learn and grow from one another. Our K through 5th grade engineering teams are often highlighted as a unique aspect of the school. This is amazing, but I believe it's our foundational science programming and our 5 pillars that sets us apart. Multi-age instruction, our interdisciplinary and STEM approach, authentic learning experiences, and collaborative community. We've heard some say that we're an island of excellence. It's through hard work, dedication, and collaboration from students, families, and educators that this excellence has grown. Here's the thing, we don't want to be an island. We, Wauwatosa, can be an archipelago, a cluster of islands that are distinct but part of a larger whole. Side note, we're in our geology unit right now. You can stop by our school and check out our 2nd and 3rd grade 3D printed landforms in our hallway. We know charter structures like ours, instrumentality charters, are unfamiliar to many. We've included resources to help clarify what we do and how we align with district goals. We aren't asking for more autonomy. We're asking to continue delivering innovation within the framework already allowed by the state. And we've shown we can do that effectively. In closing, I respectfully ask for your support of a full K-5 enrollment contract that preserves what works at WSTEM while aligning with the district's vision. I love this school deeply. It is a living, breathing example of what's possible when curiosity leads, when science inspires, and when the community comes together to build something extraordinary. Come, get to know our students, families, me, and the other educators that make WSTEM the beacon it is today. Thank you for your time.
I'm bringing the one up because I suck. So, yeah, sorry, I'm going to be over, so I'm going to try to talk fast. So, hi, my name is Ryan Rudnitsky, and I'm a parent of two WSTEM daughters, Allie in 5th grade and Madeline in 3rd. I have a unique perspective in that I've been a parent of a child who's been both at Wilson and at WSTEM, Allie. When we had the opportunity to join WSTEM, we didn't know what an instrumentality charter school was, and we didn't even know that WSTEM really was a charter school. We just knew that it was public, we could apply, and if we got in and things didn't work out, we could go back to our home school, no questions asked. What we found out was that Allie, who was generally content and productive within Wilson, really thrived in the WSTEM environment, both academically and socially. While my daughter Madeline was enrolled from the gate in senior kindergarten and would ultimately transfer to 5th grade if we don't have any sort of renewal, that's not why I'm up here today. I'm up here for people like Maggie Berrien. I recognize the concern about 2 schools in one building. I lived it. My kids were at STEM and at Wilson at the same time. And I'm not going to say that it doesn't have any effects, right? Those feelings were real. But there are productive ways to mitigate the effects of that, one of which I'm wearing on my shirt right now, Team Together, which is Wilson and WSTEM parents that work together on common projects and goals. WSTEM GC has compromised a lot throughout this process. Obviously, there's been sort of an off schedule renewal process. We've also, well, I say we, I'm not part of the governance council, but has also reluctantly accepted the decision to close the school despite its high enrollment and performance. The ask now is to sunset the school in a responsible way, not just for the school itself, but for the district. Closing it next year by letting the current contract simply expire is not what I would view as fair. The phase-out plan that was proposed in December would have started removing grades this coming year, which is still a current contract year, and would have gone down to 1 grade in 29-30, which would have had significant ill effects on the multi-age learning model, including the 6th grade engineering group. So it would have been down to an engineering team of 1. I assume the reasoning behind closing WSTEM is that students will go back to their home schools and contribute accordingly. That was actually one of the first ideas I had when I heard that WSTEM might be in danger of closing. But anyone that studies economics or just life in general understands the law of unintended consequences. What if the real effect is that the purgatory of WSTEM lowers child test scores until its ultimate closure? If enrollment remains high enough to justify the existing staff, but not fully subscribed, driving up the cost per pupil. Instead of going back to their home schools, many pursue options outside of the district. What if the school itself moves out of the district? It is an independent 501c3, and I can tell you I've heard that independent charters have approached WSTEM. There's been a lot of discussion about why it should be treated differently than other STEM programs. It's because it is different. It is a 501c3. If any of those things occur, then the net effect isn't just breaking up a school and taking its parts and moving it into the neighborhood schools. It's a net negative effect for the district, and that's why I'm concerned.
Time.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you.
Carol Hoganson, I'm a resident in Wauwatosa. I have no children in the district. I love my city and I think my school district is very important. I, for the life of me, cannot figure out why you would consider closing down a program that has been so successful and has had good enrollment in it. I hope that you vote to continue this program. I think it's a good thing. Thank you.
Continuing this laptop thing, I'm Mae McCully, and I have 2 kids at WSTEM. We're Washington-based school family, and one who will be incoming. So this decision for us, the 5 years versus 1, matters because I have one that would be finishing, one that when we started we didn't know it would be ending, and one that I have to figure out what to do with. And so I feel like the sunset model of 5 years with some consideration to how do we keep the multi-age going really makes sense. It's kind of the fundamental DPI, Wisconsin DPI recommends multi-H. It is a key part to, I think, the success, but also, as Maggie mentioned, it's a 2-year rotation, like science curriculum, for example. And where do you stop that and how do they continue? We feel it like only makes sense to continue full enrollment through the school year. This would check a lot of boxes for both those involved, for the school and also the district. It would allow everybody time, both personally, the district, the school, building, everything to be able to transition well and do that well versus quick. And when we know when things happen quick, we don't always, have all the best choices. I can't help but think that if you were thinking about how time will view your legacy and countless hours of volunteer service community, just like ours, it's my hope that all of us can be honored, and that whatever decision you make, you will consider not just what, but also the how. A responsibly planned final contract would achieve the district's goal of enhanced flexibility while minimizing the downside risks that could occur during this wind down. I can tell you if a compromise can be reached, it would invigorate an active group that spent countless hours trying to get us back to this point. The absence of a workable agreement would be devastating. I truly thank you for your consideration today, for even having this conversation. I know you're sick of having this conversation, but I do feel like, my daughter who was, I thought asleep and came to us and said, "Are they taking away my friends?" Like, it's for her. It's for the students. I hope tonight we can make decisions for the students and what's best for them, because ultimately that's best for the district. Thank you for your service.
Thank you. Jamie, is there any public comment online?
Yes, we do have one. Nicole Etter, you have the microphone.
Thank you. John Etter, I'm a parent of an East student, parent of a Longfellow student. I teach at East High and this semester also at West High. And I'm calling in to encourage the school board to go forward with what I thought was already decided, which is to end the WSTEM program at the end of this year. And I'm encouraging you to do this on educational grounds, on matters of equity, and also on democratic grounds. On the educational level, the audit showed, yes, we have a very high-performing school for a very privileged group of students who are not meeting, who are not showing an immense amount of growth. So if we look at the success of a school as based on its growth, WSTEM is not as successful as people like to claim that it is, and that's what it should be about. As far as equity goes, it has been said again and again. Students at Wilson are seeing the WSTEM students going on ski trips and having all of these different opportunities that they don't get to share in. As a student, as a parent of students who went through Longfellow, the inequities between the STEM program there and the education and the regular ed program always very front and center for the kids, to the point where I still have high school students noting experiences they had in STEM that the students in the regular ed did not. So it's inequitable. Yes, work is being done to try to get the Wilson students some enriching activities, but it's coming at an immense cost to those parents and time devoted to try to get anywhere near the sort of experiences that the STEM students are. And finally, democratically, in the last, it's like we passed a referendum. The voters of Wauwatosa said we want to invest in our community schools. Through that referendum. By continuing WSTEM, we are pulling resources out of all of those others. So Jefferson could use those students to maintain staffing there and their resources. Same at the other area schools. And so by continuing WSTEM, we're continuing to draw resources out of the schools that the voters of Wauwatosa said we want to support. So for all of those three reasons, I encourage the school board to make the hard decision and say a decision was made. WSTEM is done at the end of this year. Thank you very much.
There are no more hands raised.
Any final comment here in the room this evening?
Need to make sure online had a chance. Hi, I'm Jessica Haywood. I am a parent of a second grader at WSTEM. We are new this year. We are a transfer from the Underwood community, Underwood USTEM. So we have a little bit of an experience with that coming from one world into this world. And I have to say that when I hear the differences of it being a charter compared to just the program at USTEM, so that plays a huge factor. We are an instrumentality charter. As previously said, we do have specialized field trips, but lots of places have specialized field trips. I know Montessori does specialized things. USTEM, when we were at Underwood, we would watch buses leave, and that's not something that is unique to WSTEM by any means. As somebody who just came in this year and willing to pull my second grader out of a community that we loved, and what Underwood doesn't have in test scores, they make up for in community. I love Underwood, do not get me wrong. And to make that choice to leave and come to a school that I did not know had no potential and having a kid with an IEP and kind of a rough go as it is, to have to make this transition in such uncertain times is soul crushing for these kids. It is rough. And when we're already, and to the last speaker's point, I thought it was something we already voted on. We already thought we had 5 years. I mean, we were working out the, if we were going to sunset or not, but we kind of thought we had 5 years, right? So to that point, but it's just so hard to think that we can't do what's right for these kids. And I mean, personally, obviously, I would love to have endless time with this school that is so successful, with teachers that care so much and do so much work for these students. Let them be your guide for this amazing STEM for All idea. STEM for All does have potential. We don't know what it is because we haven't seen a detailed plan or anything, but it sounds like it could be really good for the whole district, right? So why don't we use the one great STEM thing that we have to make it great for all? Thank you.
Dr. Jessup Angle, we have another hand raised online.
Okay.
Would you like to move to that?
Yes.
Andre Romero, you have the microphone.
Hi, this is Andres, and I was wondering if I can somehow turn on my webcam. 'Cause I don't think it's possible, right?
We don't do webcams. It's just a voice.
Okay, well, that's okay. So I am right now in Wilson Elementary and Wauwatosa STEM. And if you don't know right now, there's a science fair happening. First of all, I want to say thank you to everyone that helped and make possible this science fair. And it's really valuable this. I also want to share that right now, I wish you could see the webcam, but this is a great opportunity where you can see how two great schools can collaborate between each other. There is 3, 6, 9, 12, probably 50 tables where there is great team effort and great collaboration and science happening. And I love to see this kindergarten, first grader, 2 graders, 3 grades, and doing all these experiments, applying the science, applying the skills that they are learning in their classroom to then do it later in their professional life. So I think for me, this is one reason why we want to keep Wauwatosa STEM. And I don't think we're pulling resources out of other schools. These classrooms are at full. These classrooms are maximizing the resources. And for me, that is valuable. My speech changed a lot. I really wish we could see the camera, but I just want you to imagine 20 stations, science, collaboration, and it's really magic happening here. So I hope that, I know you guys have a big decision, difficult decisions, but I hope that WSTEM can continue and we can keep seeing this science and collaboration between schools going around. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
There are no more hands raised.
We will close public comment online. Is there any final comment in the room this evening? Seeing none, public comment this evening is now closed. Thank you all, everyone, for speaking who spoke this evening. We will now move into board governance. The first item is action to approve the revised and legally reviewed Safe Schools Resolution. Mr. Morse.
It is recommended that the school board approve the revised and legally reviewed Safe Schools Resolution, and I so move.
Thank you. May I have a second? Thank you, Ms. Summerall. Dr. White.
Okay, well, we brought this to you all, I don't know, maybe a month or so ago. At that point, we had some discussion about it. There were, a decision was made that we would move it forward for legal review. And the version you have in front of you has gone through that. So happy to answer any questions or thoughts people have. As you know, Dr. Jessica Banger and I are both stepping off of the school board after this meeting. So we're just trying to wrap up some of our outstanding resolutions that we had brought forward.
Any questions or comments from the board on this item? Mr. Meyer.
Hello, I don't support this resolution. I think it will have unintended consequences that won't be good for the kids. I looked at the title, School Safety Resolution, and it seems that somehow the resolution in some fashion provides a reference to bullying. And if I were to talk about school safety and what would I focus on for a resolution? So I was considering a motion for an amendment, and I'll give you the text that I was going to do this for. If you could pass that over. And it's been always a surprise to me in 21 years of board service as I approach a meeting like this where I have difficulties with something and I want to do something and I prepare and I talk with people. Still, what I'm going to do doesn't come down to, I don't know until I actually get there. And I will read this. And this is what I was considering a motion to amend to put between paragraphs 6 and 7. Be it further resolved, the school board directs the superintendent to report to the United States Department of Education, Office of the Inspector General, all available information regarding complaints, aggressions, intimidation, embarrassment, harassment, bullying, abuse, mental or emotional injury, physical injury, and disciplinary actions involving students with disabilities as victims or perpetrators. And for those students with disabilities to include all available information on change in placement, change in school, change in programming, withdrawal, dropout, and expulsion for the years of January 1, 2018 through December 31, 2024. And I believe our fine director, Mr. Luke Pinion, handles things. I believe these things affect federal funding. And I just asked myself a minute ago or two, well, if this motion were to pass, I would, in some sense, be obligated to vote for the whole resolution. And there's something just not genuine about that. So I pass this out to you now so that the verbiage is with you, the words are there. We can remember all of these things that students with disabilities all over the country deal with, and the need to focus on these things. And this aligns with my earlier discussion and mention of some sort of a monitoring system, of a data capturing system regarding students with disabilities. So this has been my cause and it will continue to be my cause for a long time, but I came to the conclusion that to make this motion would be to game this resolution, and I don't want to do that kind of thing here tonight. So I present it to you as the sincere thing that was in my mind about what would be in a safe schools, something that would be included in a safe schools resolution, something like this, to concern ourselves with these things more actively, more openly, more transparently. But unfortunately for the cause, not tonight, because I came to the final conclusion that I didn't want to be doing procedural things on anything as important as this and as important as the main motion here tonight. So thank you for hearing me out and listening to me. And I do, with hat in hand, ask everyone to keep these words in your heart. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Meyer. Any other board comments or questions on this resolution?
The general resolution, is this an updated version of something that already exists for us? And so what are the, no. This is something fresh. Okay, the implications of it, are there any major changes from what we're doing now? It's just putting something into text? Thank you.
Seeing no other board comment or questions, Ms. Summers, please call the roll.
Mr. Morris,
Yes.
Dr. Hoik,
Yes.
Mr. Wadier,
Yes.
Dr. Worley, Ms. Hammer Walland,
Yes.
Mr. Meyer,
No,
Dr. Jessa Banger.
Yes. And this resolution passes. Let me,
Going to introduce it.
let me first.
I'm also the one reading. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, if you can read it.
So go ahead. Okay. It is recommended that the school board approve the local control of school board resolution, and I so move.
May I have a second? Second. Thank you.
Okay, this is the other of the two, the second of the two resolutions that we still had outstanding. Again, we presented this about a month ago, and this one is in response to bills that are currently at the state assembly or senate that have to do with sort of decisions that will happen at the school board level. And so it's essentially recognizing that school boards should have control over local decisions.
So you used the word bills. Does that mean that these are not yet passed, or are these state statute at this point?
These are bills that are currently like up for discussion or in a committee,
Okay,
not passed.
then can you help me understand why we have has encroached in the past tense, as in it has done this already?
They have. The legislature has encroached on the
That is true.
authority of school boards. The most prominent example is Act 20, where the legislature has dictated to school districts how we're to teach reading. That's inappropriate.
Right, and so so then what's being read here is a combination of a condemnation of past actions and a condemnation of things that are currently being considered.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you for the clarifying question. Other questions or comments from the board?
sure. Yeah,
Sure.
thank you. I'm not struggling with the concept. I'm struggling with the inconsistent application depending upon who's in power. Certainly, it's a conservative position, local control. And somehow the desirability of local control depends on who's in the governor's office and who's controlling the legislature. So I just think this is contextual as to whether we'd support it or not. And I don't always agree that local control is a good idea. School district is a creature of the state of Wisconsin, the local school district. And I think of course, we all know that and we all won't forget that, but somehow the state does have authority to decide how much local control there is within the boundaries of the state. So I will have to see how I vote. It will probably wait till they call my name on the roll. Thank you.
I guess all I would say, Mr. Myers, that I don't think this is a partisan presentation at all.
I agree.
Yeah, I think it doesn't matter if the Democrats were in control of the legislature. I think highly of both Wauwatosa's own Scott Walker and Mr. Evers. Thought very highly of Mr. Jim Doyle, but I think Jim Doyle overreached at times as governor. I think at the core, there are people in this community who elect 7 people to ensure that there's oversight of the local school district's operation. That's what a school board is supposed to do. Anytime the legislature, we use the terminology, there's unfunded mandates that come from the legislature every session, and they continue to just mount, and they have not taken things away. They just continue to encroach on the authority of local school districts, regardless of which side of the aisle is in control of either the governor's mansion or the legislature. So that's the context of this resolution.
Sure. So in response to that, Dr. Means, I will urge our incoming school board to be resolved as individual members to be willing to move your vote based on what you hear in the meeting that is presented by people. That is a terrible frustration when people are decided coming in and nothing said matters. And I'm not saying anyone in this board now is like that. I've seen that in the past. It seems, not to question anyone's sincerity, but the words spoken in the room are meaningful to me. Thank you, Dr. Means.
Thank you.
Just a question for Mr. Meyer, and you don't have to answer if you don't want to. I'm just curious, what do you think what would the negatives be if we were to go ahead with this? I'm just struggling reading the language. I'm struggling to find the negatives of wanting to hold on to what we have as much as possible, as opposed to letting parts of it go. I could see maybe some administrative burden could be taken off of our shoulders if the state were to take things, but then we're letting them pick and choose. So I'm just looking for insight.
I tend to agree with what Dr. Means just said. I myself believe in local control. I think people who want their children in public schools want choice, and therefore want to move to a community where the elected school board represents their notion of how to educate children. So I think local control is a wonderful thing. I'm very moved by Dr. Means' words about, well, even if you believe in mandates, if they're unfunded mandates, they create serious problems locally. And I am very sincere in what I'm saying. It does seem that it's contextual with some people, not necessarily in this room, but in our world, about, local control when it's convenient for your ideological beliefs, and then suddenly, you're having mandates. So if you really believe in local control, then, I've talked to some people about some things, and they said, well, we wouldn't do that, because we believe in local control. But they're the same people voting for the mandates. So, and that's my difficulty with it. It starts to be seemingly superfluous to get into the conversation about local control when that's how so many people look at it. But I believe this resolution is true to what this school board believes, and therefore it is not a political gimmick in any way, shape, or form.
So basically, to be clear, what you're saying is if we vote for this, let's mean it.
Pardon me?
You're basically saying if we vote for this, let's mean it and not be speaking it out of the side of our mouth.
I'm sorry, I'm not quite hearing. If we vote for this, then something mean it. What do you?
Then we should mean it.
Well, we always mean it when we
We
vote.
should really mean it as
No, I
opposed
mean,
to
we always-
mean it when it's
We
convenient.
always really mean it, but I believe in putting our time to things that will have effect.
Right.
And if nobody's going to listen, if they're just going to do what they want to do anyway, then we could spend this board's time on stuff where we think we can move the needle as far as affecting outcomes.
I feel like this is a good time to bring up a previously passed item from the legislative advocacy asking for support for special education reimbursement at 90%. That's an area that I think certainly most Wisconsin residents would certainly be behind and would go a long ways to correcting a lot of long-standing inequities within our funding system. I see no other comment or questions on this item. Ms. Summers, please call the roll.
Mr. Morris,
Yes.
Dr. Hoik,
Yes.
Mr. Wadier,
Yes.
Dr. Worley,
Yes.
Ms. Heimer Roland,
Yes.
Mr. Meyer,
Yes.
Dr. Jessup Enger.
Yes, and that item passes. We are now up to action to approve the Wauwatosa School District Business Office as the fiscal agent for the Southeastern Wisconsin School Alliance.
It is recommended that the school board approve the Wauwatosa School District Business Office as the fiscal agent for the Southeastern Wisconsin School Alliance, and I so move.
May I have a second? Thank you, Dr. Worley. Dr. Means?
Yes, this is very quick. The South Milwaukee School District's business office has been the fiscal agent for the Southeastern Wisconsin School Alliance, which is an advocacy group that public schools belong to that stays abreast on legislative issues. It keeps school boards updated. South Milwaukee's business office has served as the fiscal agent for many years. And what that entails is that when school districts pay their annual dues, the business office in South Milwaukee, they take all of that money in and they keep the books, if you will, for SWSA. South Milwaukee is transitioning out of that role now, and SWSA is looking for a new school district to assume that role. Mr. Ecker and Ms. Henker, you've met both of them. They have agreed to serve in that role for SWSA. It will ensure that we receive a discount on our membership to SWSA. I serve on the executive committee of SWSA, so we're very active with SWSA, but I think this will just continue to solidify our voice and our role and seat at the table moving forward with advocacy within Southeastern Wisconsin and the state. What we're seeking is your approval. So we just want to make sure that you know that our business office is taking on this duty. They did their due diligence. Scott and Jess spoke with the business manager in South Milwaukee to kind of get a sense of how much time will this entail, what type of workload this would require, and they feel very comfortable that they can take on this duty.
Thank you. Any board questions on this? I'm going to go, Mr. Morris.
Dr. Means, in here with this, taking this over, if we took this over from South Milwaukee, are they fiscal agents as the district for ourselves? Are they paid? Are there administrative fees? Are there contractual agreements that fall into place for this? And what's the time period on those?
There's no compensation. I think the exchange, the quid pro quo is that we receive a discount in our membership as a result of taking on this additional duty. And it's the responsibilities to make sure that we keep accurate accounting of who's paid and who has not paid. And there's a lot of money that does go in and out of SWSA due to the fact that the organization does hire lobbyists to do the work on behalf of all the member districts. Am I answering your question, Mr. Morris?
I think so. I think
Yes.
for me, I'm just trying to get to there. Obviously, the district has seen and heard and felt all the difficulties we have from a financial standpoint previously to right that ship here, taking on more responsibility with even Mr. Eckert, but even more responsibility of other people's money, other districts' money, everything that's going to fall into this. Do we have the capacity, the systems, and the process to really have a firm understanding on we can do this as well as do what we need for the district at 100%.
I appreciate the clarity of the question. Yes. Ms. Hanker, who's our Director of Finance, who you've met, and Mr. Ecker believe that this is not an added burden, but it's something that they can handle.
Are there any additional legal responsibilities or pieces there? Any
It's
liability risk?
it's more of an accounting issue.
Yes.
Auditing, is it audited or?
It is audited and so, which goes back to, they have to keep accurate accounting of the funds that are coming in and out of the SWSA account. Mr. Mayor.
Well, I share Mr. Morris's questions, and I'll say that they're actually concerns of mine. Dr. Means says he can handle it, and I think this is where the word trust comes in, Dr. Means. If you say you can handle it, if it's not going to be a burden on our business office, if it's not going to strain our tight administrative budgets and our Fisher building budgets, because we know we have things we're handling, budgetary strains and things. If you say we're okay.
This is also a way, so it's also a way for us to save money. And so
Okay.
we're getting a discounted membership as a result of this as well. So we're not just doing this out of the kindness of our professional hearts. We're also trying to save money. So that's another component to this.
This is another situation for me where the words spoken in the meeting changed my vote.
I'm a huge fan of SWSA, so I can appreciate the collaboration and how beneficial that might be. I am curious, if there were an accounting error, would we as the school district be responsible for any money that were allocated incorrectly, or, you know what I mean? Like, is there a financial burden if there were an error?
There's no financial burden on the district. It is it would be a mark of embarrassment on
Sure.
our business office part if that was made.
Do you know approximately how much the savings would be every year?
It's half the amount, and I can't remember the actual.
3,200 is what Google's.
Yes.
Is an annual fee.
So it would be
About
half, it would be
$1,600.
50%.
Okay, thank you.
More of a comment. I share the same concerns that everyone else has said. I'm sure proper insurances and assurances are in place. I just wanted to comment on my short time here working with Mr. Ecker. He's brought us from a system of disorganization to systems of organization, and seeing what he's been able to do firsthand. I would side with Dr. Means on saying that I would have confidence that that the staff would be able to take that on if they were to use the same kind of process management. And I don't think it would be too much of an additional burden. Again, as long as there's no hidden thing there that we're not seeing about liability.
There's no additional liability retained.
Well, that's a good point. You don't plan on getting in a car crash, but you have car insurance. What if some money disappeared? There was an accounting error or whatever. How is it insured?
I am not sure.
Okay. That's tough then.
State and evaluated after.
It is there's no duration that is set on it, but I would assume that we would need to do it for at least 2 years to get a sense of, do we have the capacity to do it or not ongoing? Again, it was, the business manager in South Milwaukee did it for many years.
So we carry liability insurance.
We do.
Okay. Yes. I'm assuming pretty safe assumption. Somehow are, not to interrupt, but just to get to the point quickly. Right, I understand, but we're just doing our due diligence. I'm listening to Mr. Wadeer's question and like, oh yeah, and so, but likely, very highly likely our coverage for operations of the business office will cover. Right, okay. Yeah.
Smaller nonprofits have to carry it, maybe not
Right,
percentage, but they do carry it.
I understand. Okay, thank you.
I guess I'll just say that I don't think $1,600 is worth taking any of the potential scenarios that we talked about, especially given our recent past referendum, and just kind of rebuilding our finance department into a place where I think we are feeling really comfortable as a board. And I think the community is starting to see the hard work of the board and the administration in that regard. To me, to take on an extra, any sort of risk to me, I think I would say I'm willing to take a 0 risk against our finance department at this point.
Just want to add to that too. Dr. Means, you said you don't have the definitive answer on errors and omissions policies. I'm not opposed to this, but I'm not comfortable with voting on it without having a definitive answer on that, as to who's responsible, given the events that we've seen have happened. So that would be my stance on it.
I also would like information. So they asked, found out how much time they did.
That's fair. Sure. There's no, that's fine. We can.
Create a problem for it.
I don't think so. I don't foresee that being a problem. And we can bring this additional information to the board. This is something that Mr. Ecker and Ms. Henker pursued and were interested in and wanted to take on. But we can definitely bring this additional information.
Generally like to support their
Sure.
initiative in that, as well as the organization. Part of. But
So these are all good questions and we can bring those responses to you. I wanted to give you the origin of where it started from.
Ms. Heimer-Rowland, I didn't understand, I heard the words, but I didn't understand your meaning about 0 risk. Could you, I'm not quite sure what you're saying.
Yeah, it sounds like if we were to pass this, that it's a very low risk to the district or for our business office. But to me, the reward of saying yes doesn't mean any potential risk in my.
You mean the reward of saying yes
Correct.
Compensates for any risk? It
It does not.
It does
compensate for any
not
risk.
compensate for any risk.
I think the $1,600 saved and
Okay, okay.
contributing to this organization, who I agree is a good organization at this point and where we are as a district, I don't think it's worth any risk to say yes.
What if we're insured? Would you say yes? If we knew we were insured?
Personally, probably not. I would probably vote no on this.
Okay. I'm not trying to debate you. I just
Just to
want to
be-
make sure I
Yeah, I
understand
just don't
your
think it's
meaning.
worth putting any
Okay.
extra burden on our office,
Okay,
I would like to know, I mean, really, there has to be insurance. My question is, whose policy would it fall under? Because if we have a mistake and it's our E&O, then our premiums are gonna go up. If they have their own E&O coverage and it falls under
Okay.
that, then I think we get to the scenario Ms. Rowland was talking about of 0 risk. Because if it's zero, then sure, it's great. But I think we need to know whose insurance policy ultimately would foot the bill if there was a mistake.
I
So
guess I'd say the time that our staff was spending on it isn't worth.
You're right. I hear Ms.
So,
I hear Ms. Hyman Rollins saying that by just putting something extra on our team,
correct.
there is a burden. And I think that's fair, and we knew that. That's why we're bringing it to the board. And we'll bring I think it's healthy to pause here. We'll get the additional information, but I think it's also healthy to put into the ethos that there's a consideration that anything extra outside of just attending to the finances of Wauwatosa and the Wauwatosa School District is a risk. And that's what I'm taking away from the conversation.
could I have a motion to move this to, now, a question for the administration and board members. Are we gonna be ready will you be ready to look at this on Monday, or do you want it 2 weeks from Monday?
I would want to move it to not this coming Monday, but the 2 weeks from now. What I would like to do is to provide the information in writing to the board so you have it and you can deliberate and then you can make your decision in May. There's no urgency. This is when you consider all the other things that we're discussing as a school district, this is really small. And so I don't want us to spend a lot of time on it. I think it's been a very healthy conversation. I think we brought this to the board for this exact reason from a transparency standpoint. But let's get the information and then we'll bring it back in May.
Could I have a motion from a board member to move this to the first meeting in May?
Second meeting in May. Yeah, that's 2 meetings from now. Right?
No, it would be the first meeting.
May.
There's only one meeting in May.
Okay.
Yes.
So moved.
Yes. May 12th.
May I have a second?
Second.
Have a discussion. I do want to get the yes on this as a question of board's personship. I need to hear everyone's concerns, and Mr. Poirier has a valid concern that information can be provided. And I think whenever we have time to wait on a vote to checkbox everybody's concerns, I think that's a good way for a board to operate. So I wouldn't want to see this defeated tonight, because it comes to mind that if South Milwaukee has been doing this, the Wauwatosa School District has been sort of a taker with respect to that when another school district is doing it. And now, for whatever reason, South Milwaukee can't or won't. Maybe it's time for us to give back as a member of the school district community and take this on for a while. So that's my thinking on this.
Any final comments on this one? This motion will place this on the agenda for the first regular board meeting in May 12th. Seeing none, please call the roll.
Mr. Morris,
Yes.
Dr. Hoyt,
Yes.
Mr. Wadier,
Yes.
Dr. Worley,
Yes.
Ms. Heimer Roland,
Yes.
Mr. Meyer,
Yes.
Dr. Jessup Banger.
Yes. And that motion passes and it'll be placed on the May 12th agenda. Thank you all. Our next motion is to adjourn into executive closed session. Before we read that, for those who are here in the crowd today, we do expect to come out of closed session and come back into open session for additional conversation and if the board takes any action. So while we will be going into closed session, I do expect us to return to open session later this evening. It is 6:57 PM. May I have a motion to adjourn into closed session? It is recommended that the school board adjourn to closed session pursuant to Wisconsin statute 19.85, paren 1, paren E, close paren, deliberating or negotiating the purchasing of public properties, investing of funds, or conducting other specified public business, whether competitive or bargaining reasons require a closed session specifically to deliberate
regarding the terms of a potential charter school agreement between the Board of Education and Wauwatosa STEM Inc., and I so move.
You may I have a second. Any board discussion on this item? Seeing none, please call the roll.
Mr. Morris,
Yes.
Dr. Hoig, yes. Mr. Wadier,
Yes.
Dr. Worley, Ms. Heimer Roland,
Yes.
Mr. Meyer,
No.
Dr. Jessup Banger.
Yes. And we will move into closed session. Are we staying here or are we moving to another? We can move. The time is 8:57 PM. May I have a motion to reconvene into open session? May I have a second?
Second.
Call the roll.
Mr. Morris, Dr. Hoig,
Yes.
Mr. Wadier,
Yes.
Dr. Worley,
Yeah.
Ms. Heimer Roland,
Yes.
Mr. Meyer,
Yes.
Dr. Jessup Banger.
Yes. Thank you to everybody who stayed this evening. It's appreciated that you both came, spoke, and are back in the room tonight. I believe we have a motion. Dr.
I move that the board not offer a charter agreement to WSTEM for any period beyond the parties' current contract, and by default, WSTEM will close at the expiration of the current contract on June 30th, 2026. The board further expresses its intent not to enter any further negotiations regarding any successor charter school.
May I have a second? Thank you, Dr. Worley. Any board discussion or questions on this?
I don't know whether this is my place to ask, but can I ask for rationale? About what's informing the choice to not offer the final contract? Unless that is something that is under closed session privilege.
I believe it's under closed session.
Okay.
I'm looking back at our legal counsel and
Thank you.
seeing no board comments or discussion, please call the roll.
Mr. Morris,
No.
Dr. Hoig,
Yes.
Mr. Wadier,
Yes.
Dr. Worley,
Yes.
Ms. Heimer Roland,
No.
Mr. Meyer,
Abstain.
Dr. Jessup Banger.
Yes. And that motion passes. It passed 4-2. It is 9 PM. May I have a motion to adjourn?
Moved. Sorry. Move to adjourn.
May I have a second? Please call the roll.
Mr. Morris,
Yes.
Dr. Hoig,
Yes.
Mr. Wadier,
Yes.
Dr. Worley,
Yes.
Ms. Heimer Roland,
Yes.
Mr. Meyer,
Yes.
Dr. Jessup Banger.
Yes. We're adjourned. Thank you all.